बोले लाडली लाल की जय। बोले श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। एक बार बोले सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। बोले दुर्गा मैया की जय। Are you ready? Am I going to just start the session? बोले लाडली लाल की श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। My most humble pranams to each one of you, dear devotees. Devotees, let us all fold our hands in the prayer mode. Take a good look at the divine form of God and Guru placed on the altar. Capture the form of the Lord in your hearts and minds. Close your eyes. Now doing Roop Dhyan, that is remembering the divine form of the Lord. Try to visualize the divine form of the Lord with the inner eyes of your minds. Let us all pay our most humble obeisance at the divine lotus feet of our supreme divine beloved Lord, and then we shall proceed further with the program this evening. सभी को मेरा हार्दिक प्रणाम स्वीकार हो। सभी लोग हाथ जोड़ करके कमर सीधे करके बैठे। प्रभु के दिव्य रूप को निहारते हुए हम सब थोड़े क्षण अपने नेत्र को बंद करके अपने मन के नेत्र से भगवान के दिव्य रूप ध्यान करते हुए हम सब भगवत दिव्य श्री चरणों का वंदना कर ले। पश्चात आगे विषय पर बढ़ेंगे। मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्व भूतात्मा कृपालुर् गुरवे नमः। गुरुराराधनादिश्च गुरु परमदैवतम् गुरो परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ध्येयं सदा परिभवन्नमभीष्टदोहं तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरिञ्चिनुतं शरण्यं भृत्यार्तिहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। भर्जनं भवबीजानां मर्जनं सुखसम्पदां तर्जनं यमदूतानां राम रामेति गर्जनम्। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। आनंद कंद सच्चिदानंद श्री रामचंद्र चरणारविंद मकरंद मिलिंद महानुभाव प्रेमी भक्तगण, the blessed souls, let us all chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord for a few minutes. I've got Ramayan Chaupai. These Chaupai and Doha, these Dohas and Chaupais are actually from Ramayan, from Ayodhya Kand. They are different chapters. And talking about devotion, yesterday I told you all that we will continue on this subject of divine love devotion. And also, Bhagwan Sri Ramchandraji has ultimately declared to the world that the only means and the only path that shall lead one across the vast ocean of Maya from the cycle of transmigration and would lead one to the attainment of the ultimate purpose of life is devotion. It was in detail told to you all the one-time teaching of the Supreme Almighty Lord to all of us. But the Lord had already said, Sunahu Karahu Jo Tumahi Suhai. Nahi Aniti Nahi Kachu Prabhutai. I'm not going to talk anything which is unlawful. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that is unlawful. And I'm not going to show my pride about my wisdom, about my supremacy, and never ever am I going to use my authority to command upon you. Please do listen to me and do what pleases you to do. The wise, the humble, the sincere seekers always adhere to follow the teachings. But the arrogant, egoistic fool, deluded in Maya, chooses to do what pleases him or her. It's very simple. भगवान के कहने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हमारे पास choice है. When the Lord said, please listen to me, सुनहु, लेकिन करहु जो तुम्हि सुआई, do what pleases you, it doesn't mean the Lord actually is giving us the freedom to do whatever we want to do. Because His teaching, His command, rather His instruction, tells us only one thing, begs us to do only one thing, and that is to follow His instruction. Mama sevak priyatam mama soi. Who is my sevak? My true sevak. My true devotee. Sevak means devotee. Comes from the Sanskrit word bhakti. Comes from the Sanskrit word bhaj, which means seva. Sevak is that who does bhakti, a devotee. And priyatam, most dear. Mama sevak priyatam mama soi, mama anusashana manehi joi. The one who follows my instructions, my command, my teachings. And what is the command? Yesterday I told you all, Bade bhag manush tanu pava, sur durlabh sad granthani gava, sadhan dham moksha kari dwara, lekin pai na jahi parlok savara, to so paratra dukh pavai, sir dhuni dhuni pachatai, कालहि कर्महि ईश्वरहि मिथ्या दोष लगाई. नर तनु पाई विषय मन देही, तो पलटी सुधाते सठ बिशलेही. That deluded fool, despite attaining the most precious human form and all the teachings of the Lord here, if engages the mind in the materialistic, sensual, mic, pleasure-giving things, then he exchanges the nectar that already is endowed upon him to poison. Maya is all poison. Every fulfillment of the material desire at the end is only going to feed you one thing, and that's poison. It's going to destroy us at the end. We're going to be so sorry because we'll be so miserable. And when we'll be miserable, we'll blame time, fate, or God. The Lord, explaining all this, is in fact telling us to follow his teachings strictly. There is no choice. That is why I said that only the deluded fool chooses not to pay heed to the Lord's teaching and do what he wishes or she wishes to do. We should carry the wish of the Lord. And that is the only way to fulfill the purpose of our lives. And the one and the only purpose is attainment of the Supreme Almighty Lord, which is attainment of bliss, which can never ever be fulfilled from any material objects or individuals. From nowhere in this Maya world can we ever attain that bliss, that love, that peace, and that happiness. This is just a recap. Now, moving on, talking about this devotion and telling you about the ardent devotees from Ramayana. This is Ram Leela, the divine pastimes of the greatest of the devotees who are surrendered to Bhagavan Ram. Today, such unconditional lover, such unselfish devotee who's exclusively devoted to Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra Ji, the boatman, the ferryman, the kevat. We will be looking at his beautiful devotion. Try to get some sweet nectarine lessons from this Ram Leela of Kevat. And these verses, the chopais and dohas and the chand are from this Kevat Leela. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare नाथ उतराई चाहो, मोहि राम राउरियान दशरथ सपथ सब साची कहूँ, बरु तीर मारहूँ लखनु पै जब लगी न पाए, पखारी हूँ तब लगी न तुलसीदास, नाथ कृपाल पारु उतारी हूँ। सुनि के वट के बैन प्रेम लपेटे अटपटे, बिहसे करुणाए चितई जानकी लखन तन। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम, जय सिया राम जय
जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम।
कृपा सिंधु बोले मुस्काई, कृपा सिंधु बोले मुस्काई, सोई करु जेहि तब नाव न जाई, बेगी आनु जल पाए पखारू, होत विलंब उतारहि पारू। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम, बोलिए
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम,
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम।
जासु नाम सुमिरत एक बारा, उतरहि नर भव सिंधु अपारा, सोई कृपालु के वटहि निहोरा, जेहि जगु किए तिहु पगहु ते थोरा, पद नख निरखी देव सरि हर्षि, सुनि प्रभु वचन मोह मति करषि, केवट राम रजाय सुपावा, पानी कठवत भरी लई आवा, अति आनंद उमगी अनुरागा, चरण सरोज पखारन लागा, बरषि सुमन सुर सकल सिहाही, एहि सम पुण्य पुंज को नाही। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम, बोलिए
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम,
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 जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम।
पद पखारी जलुपान करी आप सहित परिवार, पितर पारु करि प्रभु ही पुनि मुदित गए उलई पार सियापति रामचंद्र की जय. So, bhakti alone, devotion to God alone, can lead us to the attainment of our purpose, attainment of God realization or attainment of happiness or total liberation from all kinds of sufferings, miseries and pains. Bhagwan Ramchandra ji himself has talked about bhakti, and then immediately after Bhagwan Ramchandra ji gave his speech, Guru Vashishta came before Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, who was already seated listening to the divine words of wisdom flowing out from the divine lotus mouth of his divine beloved Lord. Guru Vashishta, when he comes forward, he utters the words once again as a guru, as a teacher to the entire world, that how devotion alone can lead one to the ultimate goal. Jap tap niyam yoga nij dharma shruti sambhav nana shubh karma ज्ञान दया दम तीरथ मज्जन जहाँ लगी धर्म कहे श्रुति सज्जन आगम निगम पुराण अनेका पढ़े सुने कर फल प्रभु एका तव पद पंकज प्रीति निरंतर सब साधन कर यहाँ फल सुंदर मिलहि न रघुपति बिनु अनुरागा किए योग जप ज्ञान विरागा. Vashishta ji says, Chuta hi na mal ki malahi ke dhoe. The heart is already very polluted. The mind has become so impure. Being a product of Maya and being in this material world, in the Mike world, with the Maya attachment since time immemorial, this heart and mind has become thoroughly immersed in impurity. And impurity or dirt or filth cannot be washed away and cleansed by associating with impure or dirty minds. Just as when the clothes are very dirty and when you wash it in dirty water, you can never clean the clothes. It will never get cleaned. It will become, in fact, more dirty. Likewise, the impure mind of ours, the Mike mind of ours, the more we associate with the material Mike people, be there these people, be they our own parents, children, spouse, siblings, friends, anyone, it will just become more impure. Maya is all about impurity. God is all purity. They are two separate, opposite worlds. Thus, the mind needs to associate with the pure, the true, the Sat. There are only two personalities, the Supreme Almighty Godhead personality and the God realized saints. Only then, when we get the association of the divine personalities our minds will become pure. This is what Vasishtha Ji Maharaj is saying. And again, Vasishtha Ji Maharaj is saying, no matter what an individual does or performs, yog, yag, jap, tap, brat, puja, whatever one does, and whatever one reads, Agama, Nigama, Purana, Aneka, all these great scriptures we may read, we may listen to all this. But without practicing devotion to God, without having our hearts melting with love and in love for our beloved Lord, we cannot attain the purification of our hearts and minds. That is why in the Bhagavatam Mahapuran also, in the 12th canto, 13th chapter and 18th verse of Bhagavatam Mahapuran, it is very clearly stated by Vedavyas Ji. Tat Chinivan, Vibithan, Vicharan Paro, then Bhaktya Vimuchya Naraha. Listen, Tat Chinivan, Vibithan, read the scriptures, listen to the divine wisdom, or read the divine wisdom, and then Vicharan. Then you decide, come to a decision. Vicharan does not mean just think, decide, come to a decision. Conclusion. After listening to the divine discourses, after reading the divine wisdom, the divine scriptures, come to a decision, make a decision. Tat chinuvan, vipithan, vicharan paro. But this is not enough. Bhaktya vimuchya naraha. Then you need to practice devotion. You need to fall in love with God, the one about whom you have just heard or read about. The glories of the divine pastimes of the Lord. All this Ram Leela, it will be great to your ears. Katha Vachaks, the storytellers may give us beautiful narrations, and you may clap your hands and say, wow, wow. But then, of what avail? Just listening to these kathas, these stories, is not going to cleanse our hearts and minds. It's going to do some good, that it's going to tell you about the Lord's glories. But it cannot turn you into a devotee of God, into a lover of God, until you practice that which is being taught, which you have heard, which you have read. After making a decision, okay, now I'm going to move my mind, myself, completely away from this Maya world attachment. Remember, I talked about attachment in great detail yesterday. And I'm going to try to attach my mind in God or in the God-realized saint. Unless we make this decision and then put it into practice, you can make the decision. Even then, you're not going to get purified. You're not going to fall in love with God just by making this decision. We have to practice our loving devotion, which is surrendering ourselves with love and devotion to God. And this needs to be exclusive to God and Guru. Everyone else and everything else is dead. As Jagat Guru Uttam Swami Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu, our beloved Gurudev, my beloved Gurudev, always stated to us, Sab sansar mar gaya. बस एक अपना गुरु और एक अपना इष्ट देव, उसके सिवाय कोई नहीं, कुछ नहीं, सब मर गए. अनन्य भाव से फिर भजो. और ये भी मिक्स कर रहा, ये भी मिक्स कर रहा, alloy of everything like dalda ghee, it's not gonna give you anything. Purity, pure devotion. So, आगम निगम पुराण अनेका पढ़े सुने कर फल प्रभु एका तव पद पंकज प्रीति निरंतर. आपके श्री चरणों में प्रेम हो. Listening to all the divine discourses, reading about it all, and then coming and making a decision leads only to one thing: love at your divine lotus feet. This is what Guru Vasishtha is now saying after Bhagwan Ramchandra ji gives his speech. This is in Uttarakand of Ramayana. Uttarakand of Ramayana is the pran, is the soul of Ramayana. Just as 10th canto, 29 chapters to 33 chapters of Bhagavatam Mahapuran is the soul of Bhagavatam Mahapuran. Just as 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the pran, is the soul of Bhagavad Gita, so is Uttarkand of Ramayana, the soul of Ramayana. However, every aspect of the scripture is equally important and precious and divine in nature. Thus, from Bhagwan Sri Ramchandraji's teaching, from the soul of Ramayana, where I told you all that how bhakti alone is being glorified, devotion alone is being glorified. Remember, Bhagwan Ramchandraji had said, Kahau bhakti path kavan prayasa, yogana jap tap makh upavasa, sarala subhavana man kutilai, jatha labh santosha sadai. Yesterday I had explained this in detail. Oh, brethren, tell me, what effort do you really have to put? What hard-earned effort do we have to put in practice of devotion? We just simply have to be a very simple-hearted people, sarala subhav, in your nature. You have to be absolutely simple, simple-hearted, simple-natured, plain and simple. What's inside is outside. No crookedness and cunningness of the heart and mind. Man ki kutilta nahi. Sarala swabhav na man kutilai. Aur jatha labh santosha sadai. And whatever gains you receive, whatever you receive, just be contented with it. Take it all as grace. Everything is grace of God. If you take everything in life that comes to you as grace of God, then there will be no jealousy, no hatred, no competition, no this and no that. You'll be just thoroughly immersed and absorbed in the devotion of your beloved Lord, and the whole world naturally and automatically will be that for you. This is what Bhagwan Ramchandraji is saying, Sarala Subhavana Manu Kutilai Jatha Labha Santosha Sadai. And plus, the Lord had already said also earlier, Raghupati Bhagati Sajivan Muri, lekin Anupana Shraddha Mati Puri. The devotion to Lord's lotus feet, Bhagwan Ram's lotus feet, says Tulsidas Ji, is Sanjeevani Bhuti. It's that Amrit that will bring even that to life, meaning bhakti is not only for the pure-hearted people, it is also for the most demonic-hearted person. Bhakti path is for everybody. Even if you consider yourself to be absolutely fallen and wicked and evil, come on, get out of it and start practicing devotion, love at the lotus feet of God, because this path of devotion is meant for each and every individual soul. Jati pati kula dharma badai dhan bal parijana guna chaturai bhagati hina nar sohi kaisa binu jal baridhi dekhiye jaisa. Without devotion, a person is just like the dry clouds which appear and then disappears. The farmers, the animals, the birds, the beasts, the human, everybody is waiting for some rain to shower. But the dry clouds appear and then disappear. And they don't appear together. The dry clouds, next time when you go out there and look up in the sky and see the dry clouds, see it with open mind. Try to observe it. Dry cloud is always scattered. What is it always? Scattered. Gucha, groups. In different groups, it will be scattered. And the rain-laden cloud is not scattered. It's always together. The heart filled with devotion and love for God is not scattered. like the dry clouds. Because when there are groups, then there is politics. Then there is all this jealousy, hatred, competition, avarice, etc. And the heart filled with bhakti sees nothing and no one except the beloved, the lover and the beloved. So Bhagwan Ramchandra ji is saying, the one whose heart is bereft of bhakti, भगति हीन नर सोई कैसा, बिनु जल बारिधि देखिए जैसा, बिना जल का बादल, ड्राई क्लाउड, ऐसा है बिना भक्ति वाला प्राणी. उसके अंदर कुछ है ही नहीं, कोई प्रकार के ममता भी नहीं है, प्रेम है ही नहीं. जिसके हृदय में प्रेम और भक्ति है, वो अपने प्रभु के प्रेम में डूबा हुआ है. उससे किसका लेना और किसका देना, न माधव का लेना न उद्धव का देना. पुरुष नपुंसक नारी नर जीव चराचर कोए, be it man, woman, neither man and woman, good, pious, virtuous, righteous, unrighteous, impious, wise, wicked, demon, anybody. For everyone, the path of devotion is absolutely open and embraces all. So this question is also answered. How do I become the rightful candidate? You cannot become rightful candidate. First, you just dive into the pool of devotion, start to practice devotion, and God will make us rightful candidates for His love. But if you wait to make yourself rather pure and good and pious and virtuous, then you will never dive into the pool of devotion. You'll never start practicing bhakti. And thus, how can you ever be filled with that love and devotion of God or receive that grace of God for the love of God? That is why it is said that path of devotion is open for everybody. Wherever you are standing, just dive into the pool of devotion. Just start to practice your devotional love for God. How? There are many kinds of devotional practices, many types of it. So how do I just jump into this devotional practice? Here I'm going to give you the example about Kevat. You know Lord Ram, when he came from Ayodhya in exile, for 14 years he was in exile. Because Keikei, there were 3 queens of King Dashrath. King Dashrath, Lord Ram's father. Lord Ram's mother, Kaushalya. And the second queen and the third queen are like the stepmothers, what you call, Keikei and Sumitra. So Keikei, she is showing to us all how an individual is without devotion. When there is lack of devotion, when there is no devotion in the heart, then there is too much greed, attachment, that mother and the root cause of all our mental disease, of all the problems. Remember yesterday I told you, moha sakal vyadhan kar mula aur tehi te puni upjahi bahusula kam vat kaf lobh apara krodh pitta nit chati jara aur preeti karehi jo tino bhai to upjahi sannipat dukhadai. Kam, krodh, lobh, the biggest doors to hell, to narak. Kam means lust, sensual lust, desires, krodh, anger, and lobh, greed. And the root cause, the mother of all this, mental disease of all this sickness is attachment. So KK's attachment to her only son, Bharat. My son should become the heir to the kingdom, not the eldest born Ram, when by right it is the eldest child in the royal family who takes the crown. Even in the material world, we see this. And here, by all means and right, Bhagwan Ram, the supreme most, it is his own form which has come as Bharat, Lakshman and Shatrughan. It's Lord Ram's form, when he should be crowned as the king. But KK couldn't see this happening. So KK demanded King Dashrath to send Ram to exile and to crown Bharat as king. Well, King Dashrath had to abide by his promise. Raghukul reet sada chali aayi, pran jaye par bachan na jaye. He had already taken a vow during the marriage ceremony that whenever you shall ask for a boon, I will fulfill it. And today she's asking for a boon, for something to happen. And King Dashrath had already taken vow. Even if he dies, he will not break the law, the rule, the principles, which has come all the way from Raghu dynasty. Thus, he never breaks his promise and he says, okay. This way, Lord Ram is now gone to the forests in exile. As he entered into the forests, he had to cross the Ganga. He had to cross the Ganges, the holy river Ganga, in order to go to Prayag. And from there to move on to Rameshwaram, etc. The Ganga river needed to be crossed. Without crossing the river, he just could not go in the dense forests where he was sent in exile. So, he goes to the banks of river Ganga and calls out for a ferryman, for a boatman. But the king of that particular kingdom, Nishadraj Guh, came with all his people to welcome Prabhu Ram, recognizing the supreme almighty Lord Ram as the supreme personality. The devotion of Nishadraj Guh can be seen here. He came not empty-handed. He came with all sorts of fruits and flowers and offerings to offer to Lord Ram. How does he know Lord Ram? Who told him about Lord Ram? His devotion told him. His love and devotion at the lotus feet of God told him and showed him the path. So, Guhu said that I will get the boatman for you because today there is no ferryman. Today there is no boat here. It seems all the boatmen were on strike or something. So the king himself is going to get a boatman. Of course, king's instruction is the final word for the subjects. So Gu called for the boatman, a Kevat. There was only one boat And there was only one boatman, this Kewat, the ferryman, the Kewat, who comes when Nishadraj Guhu calls for a ferryman. This only one Kewat. Wow, look at this grace. He's graced from every direction. There is no other Kewat in competition, standing there in competition. Wow. Only one Kewat. So the Kewat comes running. Guhu says, please go and get your boat, because this Ram, along with Lakshman, along with Mata Sita, they need to go across Ganga. Oh, the Kewat says, Ram, mangi nawana Kewata ana, kai tumhara maram mai jana. I know your secrets. Tumhara maram mujhe sab pata hai. Now mangwaya jab, when the boat was called for by the boatman, he said, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely sorry. I'm not going to bring my boat. I'm not going to ferry Bhagavan, this Ram, across Ganga. Oh no, he can't board my boat. No, in no way. Wow, look at this now. Didiji, you were just saying what a grace. Is this grace? He should be over-thrilled and overjoyed to take Bhagwan Ram. If he is really talking high about Ram, then why is he saying, I'm not going to take this personality across? I know the secrets. If you know the secrets about Ram, then you should all the more be so happy to take him across. No, 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 no. I've heard that his feet touched prior to coming here, when he crossed over to come to this point, his lotus feet, charan, lotus feet. No, he's not saying only pairwa or godowa, godo pair, charan. Lotus feet, in other words, divine feet, not only feet, divine feet, touched a rock. A rock. And that rock turned into a beautiful woman. So if his lotus feet touches my boat, when he boards my boat, of course his feet is going to, lotus feet is going to touch my boat. So if it's going to touch my boat will turn into a woman, into some hermit's wife. My boat ud jayega. My boat will disappear. And there will be some hermit's wife. I already am married man. I've got one wife. And these two wives, oh God, what will I do with them? एक ही स्त्री मेरे पास अभी है, वही बहुत है. हाँ, अब दो नारियां हो जाएंगे तो मेरा जीवन का क्या होगा? मेरा नाव जो है नारी बन जाएगा. तो इसलिए मैं नहीं ले जाऊंगा पार, गंगा पार. So this is the reason I will not take him across. And by the way, then Kewat says, it is not the lotus feet. In fact, it is the dust. It is the dust of those lotus feet. So only if I can wash the dust of the lotus feet. Lord Ram says, you're not willing to take me across. There is only one boat, only one boatman, and you are objecting to taking me across, and I need to go. It's getting very late. What do you want? I don't want any token, no tolls. Freely I'm going to take you across. No toll. But only if you shall allow me to wash your lotus feet, because it is the dust on those lotus feet which is very dangerous and magically dangerous. There is magic in it. It turns even rocks into woman. So it will turn my boat into woman. into some hermit's wife, some rishi's patni. So the Lord looks at Mata Sita, Janaki ji, and Lakshman and smiles. You know why he smiles? Because he knows the inner, hidden love and devotion in the heart of the Kevat. And he knows the secret behind Kevat's argument. Bhagwan Ram becomes stubborn. You take me across and I will pay toll. And Kevat says, I will not take you across. And if I do take you across, even then I'm not going to take any toll after washing your feet. But I'm not going to take you across because the foot dust on your lotus feet is magical in nature. It will turn my boat into a woman. दोनों जिद पर अड़ गए. भगवान कहते हैं तुम मुझे गंगा पार कराओ, मैं तुम्हें दूंगा उतराई. केवट कहते हैं मैं उतराई नहीं लूंगा किसी प्रकार के, नहीं तो मेरा जब नंबर आएगा तुम्हें उतारने पार कराने के लिए, अभी मैं तो पार कराऊंगा तुम्हें. when I am going to lead you across the Ganga, you have got everything to give to me as toll, says Kevat to Lord Ram. You've got all the wealth to give to me, to shower upon me. But when my time comes to go across the vast ocean of this Maya, remember, listen here, the Kevat has got absolute faith in his devotion, like Pitama Bhishma had. And that is where the Kevat is saying that when my time comes to go across, he's not saying, Eve, I don't know how my bhakti is. I may be very weak in my devotion. I may never make it. No. He knows he's going to make it. He's going to go across the vast ocean of Maya. And when the time comes for the Lord to take me, for you to take me across, because at that time the Kevat, the boatman, the ferryman would be God, leading the soul across the vast ocean of Maya in the form of the Sadguru, remember? In the form of a Sadguru. This body is like unto the ship, and there is a captain or a pilot, which is the Sadguru. And that all comes as a grace of God. The human body, the Sadguru, and the favorable wind blowing in the direction of God, leading one to Godward. Naratanu bhava varidhi kaha bero, a sanamukha maruta anugraha mero. Sanamukha maruta. Marut means breeze, wind. Mere sanmukh means to bring one towards me. Is my grace like the favorable wind, blowing the ship in the direction, taking the human body, that is human being, the individual soul, towards God. Karanadhara Sadguru Dirhanava. Karanadhara means Kevat, means the ferryman, the boatman, is Sadguru. The three. This human body is like unto the boat, the grace of God which is leading us, like the favorable wind leading us towards God, and the boatman, the ferryman, the Sadguru. So when my time comes to go across the vast ocean of Maya, my Lord as Sadguru, you'll be there. You'll be there to take me across. And at that time, to pay you the toll, I will have nothing. Absolutely nothing, because there is no treasure, no prize, no value. That can ever pay off your debts, my Lord. The toll to you. You've got everything to pay me, but I have nothing to pay you. That is why I am not going to take any toll, any utrai. क्योंकि जब मेरा बारी आएगा भव सागर से पार कराने का, तब आप पार कराओगे जब, तो मेरे पास उतराई देने के लिए तो कुछ नहीं रहेगा. इसलिए मैं उतराई पुतराई नहीं लूंगा. क्योंकि मैं अगर उतराई अभी ले लूंगा तो तुम उतराई मांगोगे तो मैं क्या दूंगा, फिर तो मैं तो कुछ नहीं दे पाऊंगा, फिर मेरा तो पार ही नहीं हो पाएगा। हाँ, केवट बड़ा समझदारी की बात कर रहा है, वेरी वाइज केवट। यस यस। तो ये तो हमारा काम भी बन जाएगा अगर तुम्हारा काम बन जाएगा। टुडे आई विल टेक यू अक्रॉस विदाउट एनी टोल, and then when my time comes, then you take me across to your divine abode without any toll. But the Kevat is saying, at no cost I'm just going to have you board my boat without you letting me wash your lotus feet. Only once I have washed your lotus feet, then you can board my boat. At that time the Lord smiles, looking at Janaki ji and Lakshman ji. In other words, eye-to-eye contact with them, saying that look at this great devotee of ours. Look at this unconditional lover. Look how deep his devotion is, how sincere and true his bhakti is. Bhagavan जानकी जी को और लक्ष्मण जी को देखते हुए मुस्कुराते हैं कि देखो ये केवट के अंदर कितना प्रेम भरा है. Crooked is his words, but it is all imbued with so much of love and devotion. टेढ़ा मेढ़ा बात कर रहा है लेकिन प्रेम और भक्ति से भरा है इनकी वाणी. तो भगवान the Lord gives the permission to Kevat. And Kevat immediately gets a wooden vessel, basin, and he fills the waters of Ganga. Ganga ji was desperately longing for the touch of Lord's lotus feet. It was just brimming up, coming up. It would flood in no time. If Ganga ji is unable to touch the Lord's feet, it will come where the Lord is standing. It will just flood itself. So, before that could happen, the Kevat goes and gets the Ganga water. Ganga personified, having the darshan of the toenails of the most divine, beautiful, majestic toe of the Lord, is exported to the highest height of ecstatic bliss. And now she will also not only touch, but the Lord's lotus feet is not going to have a bath in the Ganga water. The Ganga water is going to have a bath in the Lord's lotus feet. The vessel is bought, the wooden vessel, with the Ganga water in it, and the Lord puts his lotus feet in it, and the Kevat, the boatman, washes it very gently. The touch of those divine charan and the charanamrit, the charan amrit, the divine nectar of the supreme divine lotus charan, now is what is in this wooden basin. The Kevat drinks it to the full, shares it with his family, the brethren, and now very cheerfully, gladly, with emotions overflowing, with so much of thrill and ecstatic joy, ushers and takes Bhagwan Ram, Lakshman, and Mata Sita to board the boat. Bhagwan Ram says, quick, quick, fast, fast. Time is passing by and I'm getting late. You know, God, He knows when such devotees are met with, well, they can just hold the Lord and never let the Lord go. You heard about Surdas ji? Surdas ji was blind and he was walking, chanting the glories of the Lord's name. And his one leg went inside a big hole, and the other leg was about to go in there, and then he'd be gone in this big ditch. As soon as one leg went in, the Lord immediately grabbed Surdas by the hand and pulled him out. And Surdas, when he got the hold of the Lord, he was blind. But the devotion is something not to do with your physical self and your sensual senses. One does not need to have eyes, nose, ears, tongue, mouth, or the sense of touch aspect, the 5 sense organs. One's heart full of love and devotion is enough to make one experience the divine Lord, the divine beloved God and Guru. It's beyond your material intellect and comprehension. The divine devotion can only comprehend it. Surdas knew exactly whose touch it is. It is the same touch that he always felt while crying out for Krishna. While crying out for God in his devotional practice, the feeling he felt, the touch he felt in his heart of the Lord is the same touch externally today he's feeling while the Lord is holding him. Because the Lord had to hold him and take him out. Now, as soon as the Lord held him to take him out from that position, from falling into the ditch, Surdas immediately grabbed hold of God, and now he's not going to let the Lord go anywhere. The devotee's grip and hold is so strong that even God cannot fight it. This is the power of love. This is the power of devotion. This is the power of Hanuman. This is the power of Kevat's love. That the Lord had to accept defeat here, even Lord Ram. He gave in. He said, okay, wash my feet and take me. Surdasa's story doesn't end here. It's very beautiful, so I'll continue with it a little bit. Surdas ultimately holding the Lord and the Lord trying his best to get out of the grip, Surdas ultimately lets him go by saying, "Baah chodaye jaat ho, अरे बाह छोड़ाए जात हो, निर्बल जान के मोहे, हृदय से जब तू जाओगे तो मर्द बधोगे तो है." Today you are just freeing yourself from my grip, huh? Don't worry, go. But I challenge you, the day you will be able to get out of my heart, then I'll tell you that day you are a mard, a real man. Because he knows, once the Lord takes his place in here, and he's given a place in here, in a devotee's heart, Lord never goes. कभी नहीं छोड़ते अपने भक्त को, भगवान या गुरु. Thus, Shri Krishna, he said to Radha, he went and they were on the way to Maharas. So Shri Krishna says to Radharani, before we go to Maharas, I would like to show you this one very special devotee. Radharani says, okay, so special is he? Oh yes, extremely special and unique. Okay, but when you go close to that devotee, don't go too close. He is absolutely amazing and unique, and he cannot be understood. Crooked, very crooked are his ways of love. Kishori ji says, okay. When Kishoriji goes there, sees Surdas, knows Surdas is blind. This devotee of mine is absolutely blind. He can't see anything. So I'll tiptoe. Just like a cat when goes to catch rat. Even more than that is the silent tiptoe of Radharani. So she is very quietly going towards Surdas. I'll be careful. Shyam Sundar is saying, stop, that's it. She's saying, no. Let me go a little bit more, closer to this devotee of yours. Very amazing, isn't it? Crooked eye his ways, isn't it? Let me go a little closer. And Surdas was acting and behaving as if he doesn't know anything. He can't see. He doesn't know who's there. You know, a devotee does not need these eyes, does not need any of these senses, as I've already told you. We have to hold faith in that. We have to practice devotion to experience this truth. Unless we experience it, we can never have faith that how it can be possible. It's absolutely possible. With the inner eyes of his mind, that pure mind, filled with love and devotion for God, he is seeing, he is perceiving, he can see it very clearly, Kishoriji coming. And in any case, anybody who's blind, their hearing sense becomes very, very strong. They can hear the slightest of the noise, of the sound. But Surdas' devotion, who can challenge Radharani? Tell me. All these senses are nowhere near. So Surdas, he knows she's coming. And he can see it with the inner eyes of his love and devotion. As soon as she was in a distance where he could reach out, immediately Surdas he was sitting like some poor person, crying for the Lord, not knowing who's around, and all of a sudden he just leaps to touch Radharani's lotus feet. And what he gets? The anklet of Radharani, the nupur of Radharani, anklet of Radharani. One leg, so one anklet. And he grabs it. It comes into his hand, he grabs it. Kishoriji is pleading and praying that I'm going on my way to Maharaj. Please, give me back the anklet. I cannot go to Maharaj incomplete in my shingar. It has to be complete sola shingar. I have to have both the anklets. Otherwise, I cannot enter Maharaj. Please, I beg you to give me the anklet. Surdas ji says, how do I know that it is the same voice of the same person whose anklet I have? I can't see. So then Kishori ji graces Surdas with the sight. Surdas sees Radharani. I don't know if you are my Kishori ji. Where is my Shyam Sundar? Unless Yugal Sarkar comes, I wouldn't know whether it's a trick on me. So then Krishna also appears, Yugal Sarkar, gal bahiya diye. Jab mila hai to leo pura ke pura. And then the Yugal Sarkar darshan, and then the Lord says, and then he gives back the anklet. The Lord says, now ask for a boon, because when I give darshan, one has to ask for a boon. Surdas says, make me blind again. I have seen you, and I don't want to see anyone and anything. Apart from you, nothing. सदा के लिए मुझे फिर अंधा बना दो. मैंने आपको देख लिया. बस आप मेरे रोम रोम में बसो. In every pore and fiber of my being. From every pore and fiber of my being, I may only visualize you. And that's it. Such is the bhakta. Coming back to Kevat. Kevat is no less. All this Leela of Kevat, you know where it took place? Yesterday I sang जय राघवेंद्र सरकार की, जय सीता सुकुमार की, जय जय सीता राम की, जय श्रृंगवेरपुर धाम की, जय जय राजा राम की, जय केवट रति अभिराम की. The rati, the prem, the love of Kevat. Where did it all happen? In Shringverpur Dham. Shringverpur Dham is 15 minutes away in a car, half an hour's drive from Mangar, from Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu, from our beloved Gurudev's village. Bhakti Dham, Kripalu Dham. Half an hour's drive. From there is Shringverpur Dham, on the banks of river Ganga. Nishad Raj, Goose Palace is still there, all very much in clay. But why the name Shringverpur? Once Maharaji every year used to take us to Shringverpur Dham. In fact, Sita Ram Lakshman, along with Hanumanji, the Ram Darbar, about 4 feet of height, has been established by Sri Maharaji exactly at the spot under the tree where Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra Ji, Mata Sita, along with Lakshman Ji Maharaj, took their seat where they sat and rested. Exact spot. There is Ram Darbar, Jhaki, established by Sri Maharaj in 2009. So Sri Maharaj used to take us every year at the end of the sadhana program or in the middle of the sadhana program somewhere to Shringverpur Dham. So once Maharaj had explained why the name Shringverpur. He said that in those days, in the olden days, like in those days of Prabhu Ramchandra Ji, the bear, bear is like plums, you can say, like plums, like berries, big berries. A lot of it is only the stone, the seed, the big stone. Very little flesh to eat. Bear. In Gujarati they call boar. They eat a lot. So this bear used to be so big, Maharaji said, it used to be like the horns of the bulls. You know how we have the horns on the bulls? Or on the cows also? सिंग सिंग, इतने बड़े बड़े सिंग जैसे वो बेर होते थे, इसलिए नाम पड़ गया श्रृंगवेरपुर. हाँ, इतने बड़े बड़े बेर. Can you imagine? No, you can't, because you see bear this big. So those days the bear, that fruit bear, used to be so huge, so big, like the horns of the bulls. In that Shringverpur Dham, at the bank of the river Ganga, all this Leela took place of the Kevat, because the Kevat lived in Shringverpur Dham. Now tell me, was Kevat a wise man or was he a fool? If Kevat would have been a fool, then why would he ask for the foot dust of God? Such a big statement, he said, that if I wash your feet, then you can board my boat. He should have simply said, no, I will not let you board my boat no matter what. But he knew that this is supreme almighty Godhead personality, the almighty, omnipotent, omnibenevolent God. And I need to get his foot dust, because everything is in the foot dust, in the Charan Raj. Charan Raj, Charan Amrit, और जूठन उत्तिष्ठ. 3 महाबल, यही 3 सेवा करे तो पाए कृष्ण प्रेम. I will get the love of my beloved just by partaking the foot dust and having this Charanamrit. But if I ask directly to the Lord, please can I have the Charanamrit? The Lord here is enacting like a prince of Ayodhya, son of Raja Dashrath, not as Bhagavan Ram or as a saint. He will say, why my foot dust? Go and get some sadhu, some saint's foot dust. He will trick me. So the Kevat played the trick. He made this excuse by saying that your foot dust, if it touches my boat, it will turn the boat into a woman. The coward is a wise man. That is why he's asking for the foot dust, just for the lotus feet to be washed, and then he'll take across. So this shows that the coward is not a fool. So do you think the coward then was an idiot? That he didn't know that the jada means stationary thing like this harmonium, does not have any spirit, any soul in it. So it can't be turned into a woman? Of course he knew it. Of course he knew it. He knew that that rock that turned into a woman is Ahalya. And he knew that rock or stone is stationary, living being. Listen to me very carefully. Stationary, that is immobile, but living being. It has got Chaitanta, soul in it. Only one soul can take the body form of another soul, get into another body form. In the 8.4 million kinds of species, the soul will rotate in these forms. It cannot enter into the absolute jada, inanimate, spiritless, soulless thing. Got my point? Got my point? 84 लाख प्रकार के शरीर है. कोई जीव एक शरीर से जब निकलता है, any soul that expires from a body will enter only into the body that will have the soul. 84 lakh, 8.4 million types. Not just any inanimate thing it can enter into. There is already 84 लाख प्रकार के शरीर. तो 84 लाख प्रकार के शरीर में कहीं ना कहीं ये आत्मा जाएगी. ये आत्मा हारमोनियम पे हमारे शरीर से निकल करके और हम मर गए और ये हारमोनियम में घुस जाए, ऐसा नहीं होगा. ये माइक में घुस जाए, ऐसा नहीं होगा. ये सब स्टेशनरी थिंग्स है. These things don't have any soul. They are not living. They are absolutely inanimate, absolutely jada. There is jada jiv and there is jada. So rock is jada jiv, plant is jada jiv. That is why Vrinda Tulsi became that plant. That is stationary living being. They have 7 characteristics. They don't move like us. They don't move like us. They are stationary, but they have Chaitanta, life. But these things don't have life and soul in it. So the plant, the tree that was chopped off and then turned into a boat, into an ark, into a boat. Now that boat is no longer a living thing. That plant was a living thing. But that tree was chopped off and the wood was used to turn into a boat. Now this boat is simply an inanimate object. Got it? It's not stationary living being. The rock is stationary but living. There is Chaitanta in it. So Ahalya, Maharshi Gautam's wife, turned into this boat, into the rock. And when Lord Ram's lotus feet touched that rock, that was the day of her greatest blessings, because she was then liberated from that rock form back into her original form as Ahalya. Indra had played a very dirty trick. Indra, the god of heaven, filled with kamna, desires, always duk, my position, my seat will be taken. So he took a form of a rooster and did the kokoroko. Early hours of the morning, the roosters would crow. So he did it. And Maharshi Gautam thought, it's already now early hours of the morning, the time for me to go for my bath in the rivers, holy river. So he looked up, and Indra played even that trick. He made it all appear as if it's morning time. But when Maharshi Gautam reached the bank of the river, and then he looked at the stars, he said, oh God, this is midnight hours. This is midnight. He couldn't control that, Indra. In the meantime, Indra had already come into the house of Maharishi Gautam, taking the form of Maharishi Gautam. And when Maharishi Gautam returns, as soon as he realizes it's midnight, it's not early hours of the morning, so at this time, that kukruku. Anyway, Maharishi Gautam is Maharishi. He comes home, he sees Indra getting out of the house, and that's where this curse comes, or this punishment, you can say. Ahalya turns into a rock. Ahalya wanted that anyway. She wanted to be liberated of this wrong, to be freed from this, because she could not take it also. She was a very pious patibrata nari. Thus, Lord Ram, Maharishi Gautam had said that when Lord Ram would come and his lotus feet would touch you, then you'll be absolutely freed from all this. Thus, she waited for Lord Ram in the form of a rock. It was a tapasya. And then she took back her form as a woman. So it's not that Kewat's boat will turn into a woman, because Kewat's boat, the boat does not have any atma in it, any soul in it, any spirit in it. So when Lord's lotus feet was going to even touch the boat, it was not going to turn that boat into another woman or another hermit's wife. But this was the trick. The devotion of Kewat, he knew it. This is stationary, non-living boat, and that is stationary, living rock. But the Kewat tried to say all this. Now, Tulsidas ji writes all these words. Maharaj ji says to us, it's just हम लोगों को बहलाने के लिए. It confuses us. Not only confuses, it's like a Leela, okay? We see it, we read it, and we are entertained by it. But then Maharaji says that it's not only Behlana, does not mean only entertainment. He gives us the inner secret. He then says, Maharaji then tells us the secret of this secret, that Tulsidas ji is trying to just show to us, to all of us, about Kewat, about this boatman, this ferryman, that how ignorantly innocent he is, how innocent the heart of a devotee has to be, how humble as this Kewat one has to become. Devotion, the palace of devotion is going to be erected only on the heart of humbleness. Thus, Kewat ultimately takes Bhagwan Ram across. So the Chopai, there are more of this, but I'm going to end it here today. This is all for tonight, and we will continue tomorrow with this Leela, and ending with this Leela, another devotion, another bhakti aspect. The Kewat, he so beautifully, it is said over here that Pada Kamala Dhui Chadhai now, whatever you read today and sang today, I don't know how much you understood. If you want, I will explain to you tomorrow on that. But Jasu Nama Sumirata Ikabara Utarehi Nara Bhava Sindhu Apara. That Ram, whose name only once when it is taken, that individual goes across the vast ocean of Maya, is pleading and begging a Kewat to take him across the Ganga. Just think of this Leela. Go, sleep over it. There's so much more to it than what I can say. And when I'm saying it in English, I don't feel the rust at all. Boliye Kewat ki! बोलिए हमारे राजा रामचंद्र की, सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की, एक बार बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, बोलिए दुर्गा मैया की जय. This is all for tonight. No chanting tonight because it will just go late as well, unless you want one. Hmm? Oh, tonight the devotees have asked for an informal session, which will be in in the Radha Kunj, which is a house just when you enter, the first house that you see, it will be there in Radha Kunj. So you will just follow us. So we will go there and we will have some informal session over there. And maybe this will continue there as well, who knows. So this is all for tonight. Once again, my most humble pranams to each one of you, dear devotees. Devotees, please take the aarti. Come and take the prasad from me. And those of you who have not eaten, please do go and eat before you come to Radha Kunj. And those of you who have already eaten, but you still would like to go for a second round of prasad, might as well. Oh, nobody's stopping you. It's only prasad. Boliye Shrimad